So, hello everyone, and welcome to our Ignite Your Creative Power Masterclass series, where we are discovering how to get unstuck, how to expand our vision of what is possible, and how to live our greater potential. I am your host, Birgit Langhammer. And I'm so thrilled to have you here today, joining us on this journey of unleashing our creative power, because this is what this master series is all about. Whatever it is you would like to create in your life and have put off for various reasons, may it be you want to create a piece of art, or maybe you want to build a business of some kind, or you want to write a book or speak. We want to guide you, we want to inspire you and empower you to the best we can, and give you also practical steps on how you can turn your dream into reality. So, and today we want to talk about the power of the authentic voice. And so my guest today, I'm so honored to introduce her, is Anaiya Sophia. And with Anaiya, I feel like words are almost impossible to reveal what she is all about and who she is, but I will give it a try. So Anaiya is an independent mystic of an almost forgotten faith, and she is a very powerful catalyst of initiation. And she's also a teacher of Kundalini Yoga. She carries an oral transmission of the sacred feminine mysteries, and this is what she weaves into all of her work. And she's also an author. She has written many books, and two of them are Womb Wisdom and Fierce, Fierce Feminine. So welcome to our masterclass series, Anaiya. It's so good to have you here.
Thank you so much, Birgit. It's wonderful to be sat here opposite you.
Yes. And you're in France, right? So yeah. I hope the connection is good and we can all get going, because I'm very excited. And since our series is all about creative power, I would like to start with a little story, and it's actually in your book at the beginning of Womb Wisdom, the Hopi creation story, where the creator tries to hide the creative power because he knows we are not ready yet. So he kind of gave us all the animals and asked them where he could hide the secret, the most important secret, till the humans are ready for it. And the animals come up with all kind of ideas on the moon, under the ocean, in the earth, till they finally see, no, the human will get everywhere. Let's hide it in the human himself. And so I find this so interesting because it sets so the ground for why it is sometimes so difficult for us to connect with our creative power, because we look everywhere but within ourselves. Right, Anaiya?
Yeah, exactly right, yes.
Mm-hmm. And so why is it that so many of us, especially women, why do we suppress our creative power, and how can we finally activate it and get going and do what we came here to do? I know that is something you write in Fierce, Fierce Feminine. So could you talk a little bit about this, Anaiya?
I think for womankind, it has been suggested, that's the good word to use, suggested that we don't go looking for our creative power, that we live a life that seems to just fall into our lap, and to be happy with that and to make do with that. And it's the male, it's the husband or the brother or the son, he's the one who goes out and exercises his creative power. That's, we call that patriarchy. So that's the patriarchal programming. I was born into that. You may have been born into that. And at the moment, we're all straddling patriarchy programming and this brave new world that is just starting to come into view. And as we can see on Facebook and all over social media, there is this upsurge, this rising and awakening and celebration of the divine feminine, finding her creative sacred work, finding her creative voice. And so it's like, wow, it's like walking into a candy store. Suddenly we're allowed to go shopping. And it's a bit tricky because we were born in the old way and we're stepping into the new way. And we might not be sure just how wide we can expand, just how far can we reach. There might be a little tendency to keep playing it small, hold back, don't reach too high or too wide because you're not supposed to, or I'm not good enough, and I'm not educated enough, or I'm not artistic enough. This is programming. It's not real.
Yes, and with this new time, maybe this is where our sense of urgency comes from, because so many feel like it's enough. We have already, maybe wasted too much time. We need to do something now. Does this play into this new time that's coming up?
Absolutely, absolutely. I believe we're so excited and we feel this urgency because deep in our souls we knew it was coming. That's why we agreed to be here at this time. And the soul is so excited and so like, way, the finishing line is in view. But even if we're an older lady and we're starting to feel the upsurge, and maybe we ourselves don't get to taste what we believe is our full potential, we can rest knowing our daughters are going to just pick up where we left off. Real daughters and, of course, spiritual daughters. Because really and truly, there's only really one feminine here. And it's all of us. It's all of us. A lot of people always talk to me about the sacred union work. What if I don't actually get to experience this sacred union work with my partner? I say, don't worry about it. Your children will, because it's inevitable. This is the great awakening that's happening.
So wonderful. It's so beautiful. And it speaks so, it feels so true inside. So maybe could you tell us a little bit, maybe on an example? In your book, Fierce, Fierce Feminine, you focus on the 7 chakras. And maybe you can give us one example on one chakra. How is this that we silence ourselves because we are conditioned? And how is it that we can awaken ourselves? How can we bring out this voice and this power inside of us?
Well, I think the one I'm going to choose is the 2nd chakra, the sacral. And this one is titled Sovereign Sexual Identity. And this means that we become very, very aware because we're coming out of the programming, right? So the patriarchal programming was, if you're with a partner, you are obliged to have sex with him. If it's a marriage, at least once a week. If it's a new relationship, every day. So there's all these like silent programming things coming into us. Now, the 2nd chakra, the sacral chakra, is absolutely the warehouse, the resource of creativity. If we are saying yes to a sexual partner that we really don't want to make love with, then that creativity is literally going down the drain like old water from a bath. So this is where we have to like draw a little line in the sand and say, okay, I realize now the connection between my creative, fertile potential and my sexuality with other people. Therefore, every time I'm invited to be intimate with someone, I'm just going to really, really check that this is someone I actually really, really want to be intimate with, because I am under no obligation anymore. Just because I'm in relationship with you doesn't mean I always say yes. Because if you're cooking a little something up on the inside, you would be wise to make sure that part of you, that sensual, I am beautiful, I am sensual, I am holy, that feeds your creative project. But we're not saying no to the men, but it's just not thought about anymore. There is no obligation, there is no duty. We stop, we breathe, we decide.
That's so beautiful. So how could we awaken? How could we bring our creative center, which is the womb, right? And so many people think it's our creativity is our mind, our brain. And no, it's not. And it has been overlooked for such a long time. So
there's a union there. When people think that the creativity is coming into their brain, what they're probably imagining, that it's the intuition. There's no doubt about it. Woman has a strong intuitive know-how, and that is located around here, in the sixth chakra, the third eye. So even if, she rolls her eyes up and it looks like she's getting her information from the brain, it's actually a very feminine, primordial, wise place. So she gets her inspiration here. But then then she needs the confidence and the ground and the action and the belief in herself to create. And all of that is downstairs in the womb. Mm-hmm. So if we have a highly intuitive lady, she doesn't actually believe in herself, all of her beautiful visions will just seep away, pour out of her and not be made manifest. So we got to strengthen. I always see the womb as like a furnace, a strong furnace that's hot, and you're putting coal in, maybe not coal because it's not renewable energy, but you know what I mean.
Yes. Gorgeous. Yeah. And how does this apply? How does it go together with our center of power, the solar plexus? How do these two interrelate?
Well, this is a beautiful example of sacred marriage. So the third eye and the womb are typically very feminine chakras, whereas the solar plexus is masculine. Now, the solar plexus will start planning the mission. The solar plexus will create a to-do list, a step-by-step progress. A journal will be at the side of this lady. She will have her tasks numbered in a linear way because it's masculine, and it will have this forward moving energy that literally lifts her idea off paper and into action. And so you've got this lovely sacred union. The womb is giving the masculine loads of power, but the masculine is making the appointments, building the website, sticking to promises given, being accountable, being in integrity. It's just utterly beautiful. Beautiful.
Yes, it is. It is so mysteriously perfect in some way, and we lay those stones in our own way. We make it sometimes so difficult on ourselves, right? So is there, yes. What is about the throat chakra, about speaking your truth? How do we close this down, and how can we open that up?
Well, again, the closure would be down to that patriarchal programming, where a woman is not expected to speak out. She's certainly, well, I'm going really way back now to like my grandmother. Mm-hmm. My grandmother wasn't even expected to have an opinion, let alone speak it out. So we have had this kind of veil over the voice. And some of us with big energy, we will speak out. but it's going against the programming. And so it might sound harsh, it might sound hysterical, it might sound wild and insane. There's no clarity there because it's just like a feminine, chaotic expression. Because the woman's desperate, she's desperate to be heard. But if she can develop her masculine chakras, when that lady speaks, it is clear as a bell, articulated in an artistic way, and it just falls, and everyone can hear what she's saying. You know, like the TED Talks. You know, I love watching the TED Talks because people are fabulous. And I often look and I go, wow, what a gift to be able to speak for a short period of time and absolutely deliver your message with utter clarity.
Yes, I agree. Anaiya, could you walk us through a short meditation or visualization to one of these chakras we have just mentioned, or any other you feel guided to incorporate? Mm-hmm.
So what we can do is this. The left-hand side of the body, according to yogic philosophy, is our feminine part. And the right-hand side of the body is our
Anaiya?
over our womb. Even if there's men on the call, you're still going down to that area. We would call it the hara for you. It's still your creative center. So you'd put your left hand there, and you'd put your right hand, which is clarity, accountability, integrity, all of those great words, over the heart. So the right hand is masculine, the left hand is feminine. We're going to close the eyes. And I want us all to imagine that our right hand, which is masculine, is blessing us with not only an inner permission, but a get out there, girl, and just say it. You know, so the masculine is really backing us up. And say, listen, if it gets a little bit hot out there, I am with you. I am your protector. I am with you. I am saying now is your time. The left hand in connection with the womb is putting coal in the furnace. And the womb is warm and awakened and drawing her resources from the whole of nature, earth, air, fire, water, ether. And the earth herself is saying, get out there, girl, and speak it, walk it. I am with you. Now, as the two hands slowly come away, hopefully there is a warm echo of where those hands were. So as you bring your hands down into your lap, you can feel the heat where the palms were. That is something you could do every night in bed. Because there is an urgency. The planet is not in a good shape. It does need the creative ideas and innovation from the feminine. It does. We've worked with the masculine in charge, the patriarchy. They did a great job. But they've kind of gone a little bit too far, neglecting the natural sacred world. Now the feminine is coming into that driving seat because she will be accountable for all life on earth. and the beautiful balance of the natural world. And it's us ladies, physical, mortal forms, that will bring this balance around. So if we have got some creative ideas in there, we are almost obliged to come forward and play our part. So that is just a very simple but potent meditation.
So beautiful. Wonderful. Thank you, Anaiya. Wow. Yes, and sometimes we feel like one side or the other, and we don't understand that we can merge it, and only in the unity of the divine feminine, the divine masculine, we can really become the creators who are doing work in this world, which is for the good of everybody, right? Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes,
yes. So, another question. Why do we want to create? Why is that? That we have this urgency, that why we have this desire?
I would say we want to create because we know that we're growing when we're doing it. So the creation is not separate from us. The creation is it's an invisible part of us going out there and into form. So I think for me it's about growing. It's about growing and expressing and experimenting and trying something new and learning from that process. So it's like a growth urge.
Beautiful, because that's exactly what I, sometimes think, that when we create, it's not just a reflection of us, but it's also kind of nurturing us. As we nurture our creation, the creation nurtures us, and we change in the process. And yes, we are explorers, we are discoverers, we want to go out. It doesn't feel good when we play it safe all the time, right? It does not feel good at all. So yeah, I would love to have, everyone kind of realizing how beautiful this gift is we have been given. This gift of being able to create in matter.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. In connection with the divine. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, Anaiya, do you have any personal story which you could relate to our audience about your creative voice, your authentic voice, maybe a time when it was suppressed, or maybe a time you came through and you blast the doors open? Is there anything you can think of which would fit into our topic today?
Yes, definitely. There was definitely a moment when I was a young lady, probably early 20s. I'd moved to London. Now, my father was a very extroverted, strong Irish man. So if you know anything about Irish man, you know they're not quiet. This is a big character, and he was definitely the man of the house. He was the father. And he and mum and dad had come to see me in my new London flat. Now, this is important because this is my place. And so he's coming in and he's trying to organize things the way he wants them. And he's assuming it's his house. And this is dynamic is very important. So he was starting to annoy me like he used to. And I didn't even think about what I was going to do. There was just this right action inside of me. And I simply said, Dad, I ask you to leave. And I think I actually passed him his hat and coat and just said, go. So I pushed them out the front door, but not nastily, just with assertiveness. So Mum's left in the front room, you know, jaw hanging open. And I look out the front window, and he's just wandering around in the street. He didn't know what to do. And because it wasn't an argument, and because it wasn't aggressive, there was no hard feeling between us. But he was walking up and down the road, didn't have a clue what to do. Something rather unusual had just happened. And Mum was like, wow. And I'm like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize anything about initiation at that time. I just knew that something important had just happened. Anyway, after about 10 minutes, because I'm at the curtains, because I don't really want to upset him, and I'm wondering, what's he going to do? This is London, and they live in 50 miles away. So after about 10 minutes, I invited him back in. And he just said, ooh, I won't do that again. But something very important had changed. And it was a lasting change. Yes, we had our little tiffs, but nothing where I backed down and became a small daughter again. I edged myself up and I stayed there. Yeah, that was incredible.
How beautiful, because often we get offended, right? And either we keep it down, and then it comes out in the wrong way, yeah, when we are in relationships and anything. And so the way you handled it, it's so beautiful because it was so elegant and so soft almost. Such a beautiful inner change without noticing, and yet everyone was clear, oh my goodness, something huge had expired. Yeah, wow.
It definitely would have looked like that on the outside. I can assure you, on the inside, I was trembling like a leaf. I was hot, I was sweaty, my heart was pounding. But it was all so unthought, you know. I was almost like looking at myself doing this, saying, what am I doing? Yeah.
Yeah, I know those situations when you watch yourself and you are astounded by what's coming out of your mouth in this moment, but it's almost like you're giving permission to let the truth come out by itself without kinding to try to force it in one direction or another. Yeah. Right? Yeah, I remember one story when my husband asked me, why do you read all of those books, those spiritual books, right? When I started my transformation. And all of a sudden I heard myself saying, because I get answers to questions I've never gotten an answer to before. And that's what it is. Wow. So, yes, so it was, and I was like, whoa, what did I just say? Yeah, it came through me. It was just incredible. And the way he reacted to it was also, it was like, wow. Yeah. So that was beautiful. Mm-hmm. So when we speak when we connect with people around us, that is a nice thing you mentioned, that we do not try to convince them from our perspective, but that we stay in and stand in our truth and speak from this point of view without arguing, without trying to push power on them. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anaiya. Oh, I could go on and on talking with you. But I also know you have a free gift, Anaiya. Could you maybe talk, what could our audience,
yes.
What do we have for them?
Do you have a note of what the free gift is? Because I've been doing quite a few summits.
Mm-hmm.
I forget.
Okay, then we just no, I don't. So we just put it up there, and then it will be on the page with the interview, so we can direct our audience there. I know it will be something wonderful, and I know that it will definitely help our audience. Because I know I haven't mentioned this before, but honestly, when I connected with Anaiya the first time, I was so deeply moved. I didn't know what was going on. It was just her presence and her authenticity and her presence. So I couldn't speak. So, right, Anaiya, when we talked the first time, I was just like so deeply moved. So I do know whatever we are having for you, whatever Anaiya is gifting you with, will be really something very special. So thank you.
I know what it will be, the fierce feminine transmission. So it will be a guided recording taking a man or a woman through his or her patriarchal self, the part that's received the programming to be quiet, be small, don't create too far out of the box, until he or she finds that cave where the fierce feminine has been laying dormant and is now restless and wants to come out and needs to come out. And so it's going to be a very evocative journey, but so evocative that hopefully that emotion will be so deeply felt in the transmission that it's out there in the everyday person and you can't put it back down.
Oh, that's so beautiful. But I have to know now, what is the cave of creation? Can you just talk a little bit about it before we let you go?
The cave of creation is where the fierce feminine in all of us dwells. So it's kind of like a collective feminine realm that is being slowly inseminated into each one of us individually. So now we're going to go to the HQ. Now we're going to find the place where it's all coming from. And of course, that's going to be quite a big place.
Wow, nice. Very beautiful. I can't wait for it. So I will check it out right away. Okay, so what is your closing piece of advice? If there is a woman or a man and they are kind of ready.
Piece of advice.
Yes, and they're ready to get going and they're saying, you know what, I know it will not perfect what I create, but I have to take the risk.
Well, I would say the very next step would be to bring in a couple of very positive, uplifting friends. So you're gonna turn your oneness into like a little creative hub, even if it's just the three of you, because there will be moments where you start doubting and you're not sure you can do this, and that's where the other two will come in as backup. The reason I say three is because we're coming out of, apparently, this dualistic way of thinking. So that's why I'm not saying two. Mm-hmm. Let's choose the new number. The new number is 3. Anything beyond 2. So positive peer group is essential. And these are trusted friends, and they are friends that are really, really on it themselves. I mean, I always look in terms of nutrition, exercise. Are they learning? Are they spiritual? What's their relationship like with animals? What's their relationship like with their kids? Money, everything. I look at the whole thing. And then, of course, rapport. Do I get excited in their presence? You know, do we get giddy? Do we start, woo, you know, the energy starts to go up. That's your person. That's your person. And you just make a little creative hub. They don't have to be involved in your creation, but you get together once a week and you talk about what you're cooking up. And you come away and you just feel amazing. It's like you have been infused with some sort of spiritual life support. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much. That is so beautiful. So I love that you have given us some really practical things also to do, so that we know what steps can take on our journey to create this, what's important to us, what calls to us, to our heart. Yes. So thank you so much, Anaiya. It was so beautiful to having you. And so everyone, you were just hanging out with Anaiya Sophia and Birgit Langhammer. And we are so glad and so excited that you were joining us on the Ignite Your Creative Power Masterclass series. And check your inbox for tomorrow's interview. Until then, I hope you have a wonderful time cooking up things in your mind, starting to create, getting together with two of your best friends, doing a little meditation maybe once in a while with the hands Anaiya showed us, the masculine hand and the feminine hand and the power centers. Until then, have a great, great time. Bye.